Hello, everybody. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everybody. So happy to be here. Hello, Philip. Good evening, Philip. Hello, everybody. Come in, come in. Hi, Noni. You're the first. Great to see you. Come in, everybody. Oh, thank you for the gratitude hearts already. Hi, Kate. Heather. You made it, Noni. Yeah. Hello, Heather from Canada. Hi, Haley. Hello there. Violet's in the chat, my tweenie. Hello, Casey. Hope I haven't missed reading anybody's name. Hi, Lee. Oh, the chat's going very fast. Hi, Eleanor. Oh, I'm going to meet. I'm going to definitely miss some names. Sorry, the chat's going very fast and I can't see. Hello, Mika. Carmen, great to see you. Melinda, hello, friends. Great to be here. Finally, Philip and I, we've been waiting for this day for, I think at least a year and a half, maybe even 2 years. Hi, Matt. Matt Mozizix, everybody, is my musician friend. He's an amazing musician. We do collaboration together. Hello, Patricia. What I'll do is, while we're waiting for others to come in, I will play a little bit of something. I'll improvise and welcome to Sydney, Australia. We are from 3 continents here. Violet 108 is from USA. Philip Wade is from UK, and I'm from Sydney, Australia. So this is a global community. We're getting together. So I'm going to mute my mic, and I'm going to play music for a few minutes. And after that, I will introduce Philip. Well, he'll introduce himself. I'll hand over the mic to him when I finish playing. So if you haven't got your earbuds or Bluetooth speakers or headphones ready, please go and get them. And sit back and enjoy, everybody. I'm going to mute my mic now. All right. Thank you, everyone. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome, welcome. I think we have a global community here and many guests joining us as well. I'm so happy to see all of you. Good evening, Philip. Has been such a long wait for us, and so great to see you, Philip. And before I forget, Violet 108, my tweenie. Thank you so much for hosting this live. This would not be possible at all without your help and your kindness, and thank you so much. Thank you so much, Violet. And Violet is a little bit unwell, so if everyone could please send her love and light, that would be much appreciated. And thank you so much again, Violet. And before I forget, I just want to say how amazing Violet is. She is my amazing tweenie, and she has made so many of my dreams come true. About 2 years ago, or around that time, I've said to her that I wish to invite musicians, to play music together with them, and she hosted that, and that's on every month, and musician collaboration. So that's one dream that among many that came true, and this special event, Violet, I just cannot thank you enough. So let me welcome Philip Wade. Many of you have heard me spoken about Philip many times, and thank you for joining us, Philip. And Philip's going to give us some insights as to my journey. And now I'm going to hand the mic over to Philip. And Philip, welcome again. Good to see you.
Great to see you, Blossom. Long time no speak, at least in over over this means anyway. But yeah, and thank you also to Violet, because I think actually, Blossom, it might be 3 years we've been talking about this, because it was 2022 when you found me, and we're now in 2026. So it's probably longer than we remember.
Yes.
But for those of you who don't know me, my name's Philip Wade, and Blossom and I met via my sharing an insight timer back in 2022. At the end of 2021 and the beginning of 2022, I was doing a spiritual self-realization program on Insight Timer, and I think Blossom found me in January, partway through that program. So that's how we came to meet. And really tonight, it's all about Blossom's journey, but that's what the message I share with the world. I've got lots of stuff on Insight Timer. If you haven't found my profile there yet, then do have a look. I also have a group like Blossom. That's called The Living Soul. So yeah, great to be here, because I know when Blossom finally did come to share her piano on Insight Timer, and the improvisation aspect of that really started to blossom, if I can say that. It was pretty clear that we would at some point need to do a shared live to talk about that journey. And now here we are, thanks to the technology, and particularly to Violet 108. So I'm delighted to be here, and that's my introduction. So are you good to get going now, Blossom? And
Yes, absolutely. Thank
yeah,
you.
so what we're going to do, folks, is we're going to really kind of go through Blossom's journey, and we're going to do that in a few ways. One, I'll be kind of sharing some prompt type questions for her to help kind of fill out some of the bits of journey for you, to give it some context. And Blossom's particularly asked me to really look at what it is that she's sharing from a self-realization perspective, which is the message that I share with the world. What that all means, where the kind of issues arise from the trauma and so forth that she experienced, and the transition and transformation that she went through. So we'll kind of do that step by step. Also, as part of that, we will, midway through, at some appropriate point, Blossom will play the piano again, just prior to that, I'll introduce you to the key meditation that I use, which is the infinite silence meditation. And the way that we thought would be nice to do that when we get to that point is, once I've introduced it, Blossom will play the piano for however long it is, 5-10 minutes, whatever it is, because it all comes out through from the silence, as I call it. And then when she's tailed off on that, I'm going to invite you to keep your eyes closed while she's playing, or you can do an open-eyed meditation if you want. But as she tails off, I'll then continue from that point to guide you into the infinite silence, which is the bit that was most transformative for Blossom in her journey. So we'll do that partway through, and then once we've done that, we'll go back to exploring more aspects of her journey, and we'll finish off with some more piano from Blossom. Does that all sound good?
Absolutely.
Okay, so let's get started then. So I don't know how much you all know about Blossom's journey, but I find it's really incredible, really. But she actually was part of the conservatoire at both Shanghai in her childhood, and I think Adelaide Conservatoire as an adult. Do you want to just kind of give us a little bit of insight as to how that came about, particularly the one in the childhood, Blossom? How did
Yes,
that
yes,
happen?
sure. I started piano when I was 4 years old because mom didn't have a chance to learn piano, so she made sure that I started piano young. So I'm so grateful to mom. And all those years, in my youngest years, I always had passion for piano. There was something in me that tells me piano is it. I always had the dream of becoming a concert pianist. So I went on to do my piano degree from Adelaide University, and after my piano performance degree, I had fascination for Chinese music ever since my teenage years, when I was growing up in Malaysia. So back then, when I think it was age about 13 or 14, I joined my parents' school alumni Chinese orchestra. I actually went tour with them. I was playing a 2-string fiddle. I was just very grateful that the sound of my 2-string fiddle blended in and no one could hear me. Because it's one of those instruments that, if you don't play well, it just doesn't sound good. So anyway, it was a fascinating a year and a half with the orchestra because I went tour with them. It was just amazing, the experience. And after that, after I finished my music degree, I think I finished in 85. In 87, I got a partial scholarship. I went to China, Shanghai Music Conservatory, to study Chinese music because I've always been very fascinated with Chinese music. There, I didn't take up the 2-string fiddle, which is called erhu. I actually learned a new instrument called guzheng, which is a 21-string instrument. It's sort of similar to the Japanese koto, so it sounds like harp. And I learned that for just over a year. The time spent in China was really interesting. And while I was there, this was pre-internet days. I heard that a Scottish composer named Ronald Stevenson was visiting Shanghai Music Conservatory. Of course, without internet, I had no idea who he was. All I was told was he was a very famous composer, pianist from Scotland. So I couldn't look him up and see who he was. So he actually sent a copy of one of his compositions. I think it was called Oriental Suite or something like that. He sent it to the Music Conservatory, and he was hoping maybe some of the local Chinese piano students would play that piece of music when he arrives. And I think I only found out, 2 weeks before he arrived. When I heard the title of his composition, and it caught my attention. I really wanted to learn it. And so I had the music. I learned that piece consisted of many short pieces, and I learned one of them, maybe not even the whole piece, because I only had like 2 weeks to learn them. So I learned that portion of that piece of music, and I don't know how he found out that I had learned it, and when he gave me a one-to-one masterclass, I found out that I was the only person learned that piece of music, and he was so Mr. Stevenson was so he he just couldn't believe it that someone managed to learn his piece, and that 1 hour, excuse me, and that 1 hour I had a master class with him was absolutely memorable. I have the feeling, in hindsight, that 1 hour with him, from his guidance, and may have reignited the love for piano somehow, without me realizing it. So because I remember back then, after I had the master class, or even during, I remember how inspired I was playing piano again. It was I just couldn't explain the joy inside me. And after that, so this would have been in, I think, 1988. And I left China in 1989 and came back to Sydney, and I got my certificate, or is it diploma, graduate diploma in teaching primary school. And I went on to become a volunteer first. I wanted to teach classroom specialists, to be a specialist classroom music teacher. But that kind of fell through because the public schools here in Australia, or at least in Sydney, the government, they don't employ music teachers directly. So unless the schools have funding, private funding, to hire specialist music teachers, they couldn't hire music teachers. So I became a volunteer, and can't remember what else I need to say.
Yeah. Should I pause there for a moment? And then
sure.
Yeah, there's just a few things that I wanted to pick up on there, because we wanted to look at this from a self-realization perspective. And what's kind of, a few things stood out, a lot of things stood out, but a few things that really stood out for me was that kind of, when you first started to play the piano, and then later with the masterclass with Stevenson, and really that sense that you talked about there was such a joy and inspiration, and kind of almost like a calling that you felt.
Yes.
That's right. Is that right? Yeah. Yeah.
I would think so, even though the calling wasn't as strong as later on. Yeah.
So what I wanted to say there was that, these things happen in our lives, these moments of inspiration, these callings, right from a very young age, as it happened in Blossom's case. And it's really worth listening to those, because they're like standout messages from a self-realization perspective. They're standout messages from the universe. It's like your heart is saying, go this way. Go this way. And you might ask, where's that coming from? Ultimately, it's coming from within. It's like the heart is saying, yes, the universe wants to express itself this way. and in Blossom's case, it's the piano. So the beauty of our music was right there, right from a very, very, very early age. So that's the bit I wanted to say there. Was there something else you were going to say there, Blossom, or was it? I can.
Yeah, I think it was definitely a calling because I went to China to study Chinese music, and piano wasn't, wasn't in the picture.
Sure.
And when I heard about this Mr. Stevenson coming, something I was called to learn his music. I had no idea why, because I didn't go there to learn piano. So yeah, it was definitely something there.
Yeah, so that in itself is like another inspiration from the universe. It's
Yes,
like you must pay attention to this, and you did, and you
yes.
did.
Even though I didn't know at the time it was
Yeah,
this.
yeah. And I'm sure that had a bigger impact on you than you realised, probably at the time.
Yes, yes, yes.
Wonderful. So at some point, we know, and we're not going to the detail of this, but Blossom has talked about this. There was a considerable trauma that you experienced in life, and that led you to not playing for 37 years. That's right? Yeah.
Yes, yes. One of the reasons was in my second year of the music degree in Adelaide in Australia, I had a burnt out because it was very competitive among the other piano music students. And every semester we had to do a recital, not a recital, a master class on the stage. And it was so competitive that I had a burnt out. So that kind of added to the existing historical trauma. And, at the time I just felt I wasn't as good as others. I kept on comparing myself to others, beating myself up, even though at the time I didn't realize what was happening. I remember one of my piano lecturers was saying to me, "Are you okay? Is there something wrong?" I didn't know how to respond to her. So it kind of went downhill kind of thing after that.
Yeah.
So the master class with Mr. Stevenson, that was kind of like a few weeks when I started learning his piece of music. That was like a kind of like a breakthrough, like me connecting to my true self again. And then after he left, it kind of went back down. So the time in China I found was I was really taking a break, trying to run away actually.
Run away.
Because the historical trauma happened in Australia. I ran away to China to escape kind of thing from the situation.
Sure.
And I was going to leave behind the whatever, that was traumatizing me. So little did I know that the trauma was following me. That in fact it wasn't an outside, thing.
No,
So
indeed. I'll just add a little bit of insight from that for everybody from a self-realization perspective. So these traumatic events we have these in our life. A lot of them can be in childhood, but they can be at any point in life. And Blossom talked about running away. That's the most typical response that people will have to trauma, and it's completely understandable. You can completely get it because these events can be really big. But the thing that stands out is although the trauma had already transpired when Blossom met this chap from Scotland, Stevenson, and so forth, what the universe was trying to say there was, look, you can still the inspiration to play the piano is there, and it's like I call this like an invitation from the universe, both in terms of the positive feelings of joy that you have when you have the masterclass, but also, and this might be surprising to people, when we get triggered in life from past trauma. I have a live stream replay on my profile. It's called From Triggers to Treasures. From Triggers to Treasures. And the reason that it's expressed that way is that actually when you can come at these trigger events from a space of awareness, actually that's an invitation to heal it. But it's also okay, you know, in Blossom's case, 37 years went by before she felt comfortable to play the piano again, and that's okay, that's not a problem. The universe is okay with that. But life will always present you these opportunities and these invitations. So, although it was a 37-year gap, aren't we fortunate now that Blossom's here live with us? Because I think it was around about a similar time, I think, that you were finding my sharing, that you, or maybe just before, you bumped into, was it Joseph Nemo, and he was playing the piano. Tell us what that impact that had. Yeah.
That was when live first started on Insight Timer. I had been a member since 2016. Back then, the groups were called circles, and I met many friends on Insight Timer, and many of them are here now. When live started, I think it started in January of 2020. I'm not sure. And in March, I think it was March, I discovered Joseph's piano lives, and wow, I couldn't tell you the joy when I heard him play. And the calling came. I can't remember how long after that. So I attended his lives without fail every week, and it was life changing. The call to go back to playing piano was so strong. I knew deep down inside that was what I wanted to do. There was no doubt whatsoever. Of course, I questioned myself. How am I going to do this? I don't know technology. Back then, I only had my digital piano, and I didn't even have my laptop back then. I had a very old hand-me-down computer that was 10 years old, which was too old. I knew I had to do it. I didn't know how I was going to do it, but I knew I had to do it. It was that clear. So I followed Joseph Nemo, and so he was the first person who inspired me a lot.
Yeah.
And then I think I went to Gunter Gert's group. Sure.
Can I just come in there just for a moment?
Yeah,
just
sure.
Reinforce something for everybody from a self-realization perspective, and then you carry on. So
Okay.
again, going back to what we were sharing earlier with Stevenson, the Scottish piano master, and now Joseph Nemo, 37 years or more later, suddenly the universe is saying, pay attention here. This piano is bringing up such inspiration, such joy in the form of Joseph's playing, and it's inviting you to pay attention to this. Despite all the fears, despite the unresolved trauma, the universe is saying, come this way, come home to me. This is your heart calling. And that's what's actually happening there. And the good thing is that Blossom paid attention to that. And I think it was around a similar time, that's the bit I was going to go on to ask you to say, around about the same time, you came across some meditations by a monk, didn't you, that also had quite a big
Yes,
impact on
it
you.
was later on that year. I came across this video by a monk, and he was guiding everyone about how to be aware. And again, it was like a calling to follow him, to follow his guidance and pointing. So I was without fail daily for 3 months. This is 3 months before I found Philip found your lives on Insight Timer, and consistently for 3 months I was practicing that, trying to bring myself, when I found myself, when the when the thoughts and stories were, when I noticed them, I tried to bring myself back. But I did that every day. But those were the 3 hardest 3 months I went through, because I had no guidance from anyone. I was doing this alone, and I was beating myself up every time I did that, telling myself, why can't I do this? Why is this so difficult? Is there something wrong with me? I was asking those questions, and yet every day I kept doing it, and repeating the stories that I tell myself every single day, every time I do it. That went on for 3 months.
Yeah.
And so during those time, because I knew I got this calling, I went on. There's another teacher here called Gunther Gerg. He's my musician friend. His teacher's profile now is called Mindful Music. And I joined his circle and met many friends, and I told them that I got this calling, this is what I was going to do, and many of them supported me. So they've been encouraging me to become a teacher. So that's how the journey started. So and then I found you, Philip.
Okay, so we'll come on to that in
end
a
of
moment.
January of 2022.
We'll come on to that in a moment, but what I want to share there is just to reinforce for everybody that, the trauma was considerable, folks. Let's just put it that way. But the calling from the universe was bigger, and it was saying, look, you really need to pay attention to this. And yes, the mind tries to get in on the act, like it was, trying to tell you that you were doing something wrong. But when it comes to self-realization and an inner calling and the calling of your heart, the mind has nothing useful, really nothing useful to say. It cannot be trusted. Mind will be must, should, ought to, doubting, judging, contracting, making you small, all of those types of energies. And on the other hand, the heart will feel joyous, uplifting, inspiring, expansive, and often surprising. And in a way, that would be a surprise after 37 years of not playing the piano. And you want to find out more about that, there's a live replay on my profile called Trust the Heart, where I talk about that a bit more. The key thing, though, for Blossom was that she kept on going. The mind was doubting, putting obstacles in the way, but the heart was saying, no, you must pay attention. You must pay attention. And when you do that, the universe will respond. And that's where we're going to go to now, when you were just starting to pick up on finding myself. So back in January 2022 was when I was doing the live stream self-realization program. And I remember you saying something to me that you kind of found one of the lives whilst I was on. What was that experience like for you? What happened in that process?
Just want to go back a little bit. Prior to finding you, I was doing duality meditation.
Yeah.
And when I found the monk video, what stood up to me was how, even though I was struggling, with the mind stories and constant, mind chat, but what stood out to me was how excuse me for a minute, I just need to mute my mic. compared to duality, where I was constantly visualizing something, and when I was doing the monk video, I found that, oh wow, this is, excuse me, this is so different. I don't need to do anything. Excuse me, I need to have a drink of water.
Sure, you take your time.
What I noticed straight away was with non-dual meditation or infinite silence meditations, I was drawn to it, I think initially because I did not have to do anything. I did not have to think about anything when I was meditating. And I remember thinking, wow, this is so different. And again, the calling was there. When I discovered of your lives, Philip, the calling was there that I must attend Philip's lives. And I think back then at one stage, you were doing lives weekly and sometimes even almost daily, I think. And you had the 28-day program. And I just felt so much at home. Doing the awareness, based infinite silence meditations. Even though there was a lot of, stories from the past that I needed to let go, I just kept on doing your infinite silence meditations because it was like a calling. This is what I have to do. Not have to. This is what that feels comfortable. Feels. It was like something calling me to. This is where home is.
Great
just
awareness.
follow. Yeah.
Oh, this is where home is. Yeah.
Yes.
So actually, I think I was doing lives twice a week at that point, and I remember you saying that you kind of just felt like I need to listen to this.
Yes.
Something was calling from inside, in a way that's saying, pay attention. And the reason, again, that's the same calling as before, the heart calling, but I could also call it the heart space of silence, because at our very core is this infinite silence. And that's a term that came to me as the realization flowered. And the reason it feels like a calling home is the word you used, is because that's what our home truly is. You don't need to believe me on this, by the way, folks, but it's a realization that we will all ultimately come to. The source, the essence, infinite silence, universe, whatever label you want to give it, that's our true essence, our true home. And so what you were picking up on there, Blossom, was that inner calling. And you're also right that when you picked up on the meditations with the monk and then found the live streams where we were doing the infinite silence meditations and pointings, one of the points you'll have heard me consistently say at that time was, ultimately this is effortless. And you talked about not having to do anything.
Yes.
And a lot of people get confused about trying, when actually meditation is ultimately effortless. So that was quite a transition for you by the sounds of it.
Yes, absolutely. I was trying.
Yeah.
I remember, I'm sure many people have, have the same experience. Like, why can't I do this? Then the mind was questioning, why can't I do this? Gee, I must be doing this wrong. Millions of questions pop up into my mind, and I kept questioning, like, am I doing this right? The mind saying it has to be right. You cannot make a mistake. You have to do this meditation right. This is the way, like, I was constantly, and after I've, so during that period when I was, when you were doing your lives, Philip, I, every single day, I dedicated myself to listening to your live replays and do your infinite silence meditations, and to see the transformation within me. It was absolutely incredible, because initially it was, I want to know how, like, is this the right way? And I was constantly questioning, there was constant question in my mind as I was meditating, is this right? Oh gee, I cannot mess this up, And I think at one point I think maybe more than once, I even said, why doesn't Philip tell me how to do this? Like, would it be much easier if Philip told me how to do this and I would do it, And after a while, I realized that this is not an intellectual thing. It's a realization. It's deeper than, it's much deeper, It's not something I can read from a book, or it's not something that Philip says, do this, and I would instantly get it. Aha, this is what I wanted to hear, But it wasn't that. After a while, I realized that it is not that. That I actually have to meditate and slowly let go. I still remember when I heard about letting go, and I was thinking, what is letting go? Do I just tell my mind to let go, and let go? Do I imagine waving a white flag saying, I surrender? I remember thinking of that. And when I was doing the monk's video, he said something very interesting. Hang on, let me see if I can remember. He was guiding us into how to be aware. And the 3 questions he asked was, so he was with the live audience.
Yeah.
And he asked, how many of you know that you are aware? So some people put their hands up. And so when I was listening, I was participating in his questions. And then he asked, how many of you don't know if you are aware? And some hands went up. And what was the other one?
If you're not sure was the other.
Yeah, so if you're not sure, that's right. If you're not sure whether you are aware or not, you put up your hands. And he said that all of you are correct, because without awareness, you would not know whether you are aware, or whether you are not sure that you are aware or not. So when I saw that, when I heard that video, what he said, I was like, oh wow, there were many, many aha moments in that video when I was watching them. I think up to date, I have watched that video about 10 or 11 times. And almost every time I watched the video, I had that aha moment. So it's the same with listening to your live replays, Philip, and attending your lives. There were many aha moments. And so slowly, I was able to let go more and more, because you gave guidance in your live replays that how to do this. So I had to. Yeah, I'm not sure how to explain it. Like I said before, it's not something that you can. It's not intellectual. So.
It's not intellectual. I'll just pause there, and I'll just give some people some insight on that. Somebody just asked, am I from up north? Yes, I'm from. I am in the north of England. Just those 3 questions are from that monk. I can't remember his name, but it doesn't really matter. But there's another way of looking at this, folks, that you can do right now, just to kind of explain or point out what Blossom's trying to get at here. So there's 2 questions. You can boil the 2 questions down to the 3 questions down to 2. And the 2 questions are, who or what is aware of what's here now? So let's say an emotion comes up. 1 minute there wasn't an emotion, and then an emotion comes up like a wave, and then it falls away. Who or what is aware of that? Now the mind will say me, but it can't be the idea of me, because there's also awareness of the physical body, there's other sensations going on, there's thoughts going on. So the answer to that question you're eventually going to see is that it's awareness that's aware, just aware of whatever's happening right here, right now. And then the next question, and this is fundamental, is that which is aware of whatever's here now affected in any way by the appearance, in this case, say an emotion? Is it affected in any way by the emotion? And even if you cannot see that right now, the answer to that question is no, it's not affected. It just observes. It just observes. And therein, folks, is the key to the transition and transformation ultimately that Blossom experienced. But it's also the key to inner peace. Because once this awareness has been recognized as unchanging and unmoving and unblemished, everything else is going to dissolve naturally and effortlessly. And I talk about this extensively, as Blossom knows, on the live streams. There's live streams on dissolving emotions, from triggers to treasures and so forth. But really, it all boils down to unchanging, unmoving awareness. And another name for that awareness is silence. So everybody's looking for the how-to without recognizing that this how-to is really that which we are. And it's not something that the mind does, as Blossom realized. It's something that naturally just flowers. Did you want to add anything more to that in your experience, Blossom?
Yeah, this is so true. You know, when I was seeking and trying to find out, you know, kind of like I'm trying to figure out what's on the other end that I haven't reached. I want to make sure that, you know, I can get there. Like, I want to know how. Well, the mind, or rather, the mind's telling me, right, you have to find out how to get there, because if you don't, you'll be so lost. And, you know, for example, what you're looking for, if it's in point B, and if you you know, slightly go towards another direction, you might go to point C and you're going to miss point B. You know, the mind was constantly telling me, you have to find out, you have to know, you have to. And
so just a bit more there from me, if I can, before we go a bit further. So this is what the mind will tell you. You're doing it wrong. You've got to get from A to B to C to D to Z. And awareness says, no, forget all that. That's not actually correct. Awareness is here now. And there's nowhere for it to go. And there's nowhere for you to go. You just need to be open to recognizing that awareness. So this is why self-realization is sometimes called a pathless path. For sure, we have the human experience of time, but awareness, silence, is always here now. And you may not have realized this yet, folks, but awareness is the essence of meditation. Awareness is the essence of meditation. And this awareness is not personal, by the way. It's universal. It's infinite. So in the same way that you cannot have sound without the backdrop of silence, this awareness is one with that silence. And it's always, always here. And it's this, ultimately, and this alone, that will transform you from within. Every technique you might use in meditation, ultimately, you'll need to drop and simply open to this awareness. It's universal, it's infinite, and it is, in fact, that which you truly are. And you won't need to believe a single word I say, because it will be realized, oh my gosh, I am this silence, awareness. And that's what started to dawn on you, didn't it, Blossom?
Absolutely. It was, oh my gosh, a lot of that. Like, wow, is it that simple? I remember telling myself, wow, is it that simple? The awareness. It was life changing. I still remember there was one day a few years before I discovered you, Philip. I was in the depth of depression. I was almost ready to, I was so frustrated one day. And I have said this many times to during my lives, that there was this one day where, if the walls in my home were not made of bricks, I would have punched a few holes in the wall, because I was so frustrated, because this mind chatter was so loud, and it was non-stop. And there was one day where I called out, please give me a break, even for a few seconds. Just be quiet for a moment. And of course, it did not, it did not quiet down. And I remember how frustrated I was. And when I discovered your lives and consistently committed myself to doing the infinite silence meditations, and I think it was, that one day I went for a walk. It was like, like the peace walk that the monks are doing right now. I went on my walk, and I can't remember how many weeks after or months after probably months after I was doing your meditation. And I went for my walk, and all of a sudden, I felt so peaceful. And the thoughts and stories were absolutely silent. And I remember, I was looking at the trees, the cars were going past. This was a walk around my house. And I could smell what was around me, and I could hear the five senses. And I could see what was around me, and obviously nothing was out of normal compared to my walks other days, except this one day. It was so peaceful, and the mind was absolutely quiet, and I was like, yes, this was what I've been wanting to do. And I remember saying to myself, oh, I did not do anything to try to quiet this mind, because the harder I try to tell this mind to be quiet, I realized that during that walk that it's not possible to quiet the mind at all, because that's what the mind does. And that walk, when I did not have to try to do anything, I was just doing nothing, basically. I didn't try
Sure.
to do anything to the mind. I was walking. Everything was so peaceful. Everything sounded, the sounds were so beautiful, as if I was a baby, as if I just came out of the womb, and I didn't know that was a tree, that was a bird, that was a car. I didn't know. I just let go of all that.
Sure.
Everything was as if I had not seen them before. The sound that I've never heard before, the smell that I've never smelled before, and every step I took as if I've wow, what were those things that I was looking at my feet. I didn't even know that was my feet. I basically just let everything go, and it was an incredible walk. I was so blissful, and the mind was absolutely quiet. It was, I absolutely felt the oneness love
Beautiful.
during that walk. There was so much love within me. I just couldn't stop smiling, and there was no mind judgment there. It was just absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
That I would never forget that day, Philip.
Absolutely. And I remember before that you'd shared with me, because you were in contact by this time, you'd been consistently doing the infinite silence meditations. And I remember you sharing in the group a whole host of really quite transformative meditative experiences where things were just off the scale for you, in
Yes,
terms of the experiences you were having, the depth of seeing. There was many that you reported in the group at that time. So, for everybody's benefit, there was a whole series of transitions and transformations going on at that time, and releases really of pent up emotional energy from the pain body, or the emotional body as I call it. And all of that consistency and following the calling that she was feeling from the live streams and the infinite silence meditations and so forth. So all of that was building until this moment of what I call effortless grace. Effortless grace is here. She wasn't trying to do anything, trying to be anything, trying to get from A to B or A to Z. Just simply, totally trusting in the silence awareness. And when that happens, when that trust becomes total, the trust becomes an inner knowing. And it's at that point that you will recognize that this is the essence that you truly are, and that there isn't actually anything that you need to do to be this. You are, in fact, already it. You've just forgotten. That all makes sense for you, Blossom?
absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah. So effortless grace. Meditation isn't about trying. Self-realization is not about trying. It's about a complete cessation of trying, a complete absence of effort. And it's at that point then what we call the mind, which are just thoughts plus beliefs, they'll drop away. And then there's just simply silence. And that's what you experienced. That's what you
Yes.
experienced. Yeah.
Oh, it's absolutely beautiful.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
yeah,
It was a joy to hear about. I remember you telling me about it at the time.
yes.
So I'm just wondering, this is probably quite a good point, I'm thinking, to, whilst we're talking about silence, to have a little pause now in the discussion part and do a meditation together. And we'll start the meditation by Blossom playing the piano. Music is a great way from sound to silence. We've called this live an Odyssey of music and silence because music, Blossom's music in particular, and a harpist friend of mine, I know their music comes from the silence and it will transport you there. So we'll do that in a moment, but for those of you who are not familiar with the infinite silence meditation, I'll just give you a quick...
Sorry, Philip.
Oh,
I just
yep.
need a short break.
You do
I'll
that.
be back. Yep. I'll
I'll
just
explain
turn
the
my camera
meditation.
off.
You know about it anyway, so I'll explain it.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'll just, whilst Blossom's away, what we're going to do is when she comes back, we're going to ask her to play the piano for however long, 5-10 minutes, whatever it is that she does. I'm going to invite you to close your eyes while she does that. You can have your eyes open, but it's probably more effective for most people to have your eyes closed. And when she's finished playing, the music drops off. I'm going to invite you to keep your eyes closed at that point, and at that point I'll pick up with the infinite silence meditation. Now I'll just explain that. Some of you have done it, some of you it might be brand new to. It's really, really very simple, and the reason I've got this fibre optic lamp in my hand is just to kind of give you an overview of it. For this meditation, I'm not going to ask you to try and visualize or do anything, but I will be giving some guidance. And the way that this meditation works, if you can see one of these blue points of light here, and imagine that's your body-mind experience, and all the other people are the other points of light. And the world feels pretty scary when you're looking outward into the world, because this is a world of separation. A world of separation. Now, what meditation really is all about is turning the viewpoint around and looking down the fibre optic lamp, initially looking down. And you'll see that although there are many points of light here, all of the light comes from this one source at the base. And in my meditation, the infinite silence meditation, I call that, this is not a term that Philip came up with, this came from the silence itself. It's called spheres, as in balls, spheres, or spheres of light. Spheres of light. So at one point in the meditation, I'm going to invite you, after I've done some initial guidance, to be open to the energy of the spheres, or spheres of light. You do not need to try and visualize spheres. Just be open to the energy of spheres of light, to connect with that energy. This energy is also what's known as the universal state. I am. I am. In India, you would call that Hiranyagarbha, the golden egg of creation, or golden womb of creation. Most people stop at this point, but that's not quite it. Because, going back to our word awareness, we are aware of this pure universal state of being, I am. What is it that is aware of that? What is it that is aware of that? Now, in the metaphor here, the power behind I am is the battery. Now, that in the metaphor, that's at the base. But actually, in universal terms, this power is everywhere, everywhere, always. And that's the awareness that Blossom and I have been talking about, also known as infinite silence. Infinite silence. So I will guide you to be open to that using some very simple guidance. So that's the essence of the infinite silence meditation. Just go with it. Don't try and do anything. Don't try and visualize anything. We'll now hand over to Blossom to play some improvisational music. Close your eyes. Let the music transport you to silence. And when she's finished playing, I'll pick up at that point and guide you, depending on how long Blossom's been playing, for another 5-10 minutes or so. And then we'll pick up on the rest of her story. Are you good with that now, Blossom? Are you good to go?
Yes, thank you, Philip. Before I play, few people have commented that the volume is a little bit low.
Okay.
So,
Just check mine as well.
I know my piano was a little bit low in the beginning because I lowered the volume for meditation and I forgot to put the volume back up.
Okay.
So I've put the volume down. So will you be guiding meditation while I am playing? Because
No, I'll wait until you finish. I'll wait until you
okay.
finish.
In that case, I'll put the volume back up then. All right. Okay. So it's all good volume wise. Okay, great.
So just keeping your eyes closed as the music has transported you to a stillness. Just simply, silently, effortlessly aware now of whatever's here. Feelings, emotions, sensations, whatever's here, just allow that to be here without any judgment. Just like you're watching a movie from the inside. Simply, silently, effortlessly, non-judgmentally aware. And simply be open now. Nothing to visualize. Be open from your heart to connect with the energy of the spheres, or spheres of light. Just rest silently with that. And this energy of the spheres, or spheres of light, is the same as the pure universal state. I am. Infinite. I am. And as pure as this energy is, it too can be seen or witnessed from a deeper essence the awareness of infinite silence. Merging with this now. And this is like a sliver of ice in an ocean of water, and it's melting, dissolving effortlessly, becoming one with the water. And the water is actually an ocean of infinite silence. Be still and know this silence. In silence, you will realize truth. In truth, you will realize you are silence, infinite silence. This rarefied atmosphere of silence transforms, transmutes, dissolves all that you are not. Effortlessly, silently, infinite silence. and know this. Infinite silence. In this, through this, as this, eternally. Aware now of your body, the chair you're sat in, whatever you may be lay on. Aware of the space. And even at the moment you are ready, gently opening your eyes, this silence, stillness, presence remains. So when the time is right for you, just gently opening your eyes. Good. Thank you for sharing in that music and silence with us. Just whilst everybody's coming to, I just noticed a question just before we started the meditation with Blossom's music. I'll just pick up on it quickly and then we'll see if there's anything else. So Karina asked, when you have a complete absence of effort, do you then attract new opportunities and the things you desire in life? And the short answer to that question, Karina, is yes. A more fuller response is that when you're resting in that effortless, indeed as that effortless grace, you're much more able to hear from within the direction that your heart is calling you. So relating that to Blossom tonight, it became abundantly clear, despite the trauma, despite the fears around it, despite the protestations of the mind, that actually coming back to the piano and sharing that gift with the world was her calling. And so in that space of effortless grace, things will manifest, often in surprising ways. So I could say a lot more about that, but I'll leave it at that for now. I just happened to spot that little question. It is an important question. So I want to say thank you to Blossom, because that piano music, as all her music, was really for me just music from the silence. Just so incredibly harmonious and beautiful. And what a way to guide us into the second part of the meditation, where I was guiding you, pointing you, inviting you to open to this silence within, because it has not gone anywhere. It has not gone anywhere. It's always been here. And what allows Blossom to play so beautifully is because she is now wide open to that, and the universe is going, "Hey, Blossom, let me show you this beautiful piece, and we'll play that through you." And what a great gift from life to life is that. Over to you, Blossom. Do you want to say anything about that?
Yeah, absolutely. I still remember that one day after the walk, I can't remember how long after, when I came to the piano. Actually, I should, before I say that, when I got the calling to come back to play the piano, and I started, I knew this time around I wanted to do something different instead of going down the path of, playing classical music. And I had been there and done that, where I was practicing, 4 to 5 hours of piano each day. I knew that this time around I wasn't going to do that. That was many, many hours in a day. And I had already done that. I wanted to explore something different. And this time I was called to learn jazz music. And jazz music, as some of you may know, it does not require a lot of thinking. It comes from the heart. Jazz music is about improvisation. And I still remember during that time, possibly before the walk, that peaceful walk, or could be after as well, I was trying to imitate what all these jazz pianists were playing. I was listening to the video, trying to play like them. And again, the mind came in. You can't play jazz. You've never trained how to play jazz. And by this time, I already had the calling to, to come to Insight Timer to play music. And I was asking myself, if I did not want to go back to learn and spend many hours playing classical music, what am I going to play when I become a teacher? Like, I don't know. I have no idea. But, the big I says, don't worry about it. Just do it. The little I was, whoa, worrying, really worrying, like, I can't do this. Because every time I came to the piano, the egoic mind was, as I was playing, or even before I started playing, the egoic mind was already telling me, right, remember, you can't do this. You can't play. And while I was playing, the mind was telling me, gee, that did not work, did it? You played the wrong notes. You shouldn't have played that. You should have played this. And wow, that sounds terrible or whatever. And I remember feeling so frustrated because I want to play like them, those jazz pianists, whose videos I have been watching all this time. I just couldn't work it out, like, why can't I play like them? And then one day, I remember what my musician teacher friend, Judy Unger, said during her lives. And she said, be authentic. And I remember what she said was, and I suddenly realized, wait a minute, I can't be like those pianists because they are probably trained to play jazz, or they've been playing jazz all their lives, or since they were little. There's no way I can compare myself. So I stopped the comparison. I knew that that would not work. I just need to be myself. And the moment I had that realization, it was life-changing, because I came to the piano thinking, oh boy, here we go again. I'm going to beat myself up for not able to play this and that. And when I placed my hands on the piano that day, I just couldn't believe my eyes or my ears, because my hands were just playing as if the hands were not mine, it belonged to someone else. It was unbelievable watching my hands doing all the playing, and my mind was going, what's going on? What's going on? The mind wasn't happy. The mind wanted to know what is going on, like, hey, And I just didn't care what the mind was thinking. I remember what Philip, what you said in your guidance, to keep coming back to awareness. When there's a mind story, as soon as I am aware that my mind was trying to tell me something, bring myself back to the present moment. So all those, I let go indeed, Kim. And basically that was what I did during that piano practice that day. I kept bringing myself back to the present moment, and it just felt magical. Felt like somebody else's hands that day have been, it wasn't my hands. I did feel like, I felt the spaciousness, and when I was playing, I was one with the piano that day. From that day on, piano was not just a tool that I played. It was part of me, the oneness with not only just the piano, I was one with everything. The space, the trees, the air, the everything. I felt that oneness love where there was no judgment, there was no duality. I just absolutely felt the oneness love. The mind was absolutely quiet. The mind wasn't even telling me what to do, because I remembered from Philip's pointings and guidance that when you let go and accept and allow the stories and whatever thoughts, allow them to be there. Previously I just wanted them to be quiet, basically. So what I found out was, when I was telling myself, oh gee, please be quiet, I just need a few seconds silence, Can I just have that peaceful few seconds of silence? Like, what I found out was, the more I had that thought, I was actually putting energy there. It was absolutely the opposite of what I wanted. I wanted to get away from the noise, but in actual fact, I was putting energy there. So through the practice of infinite silence meditation, I knew the key was to be, first of all, to be aware that my mind, I have, been pulled into the mind and stories, to gently bring myself back without beating myself up. So that was what happened that day at the piano, without really realizing that was what happened. So the music just appeared out of nowhere. My mind was absolutely, not happy, because it was, part of me was like, the mind was telling me, wait, I'm supposed to tell you what to play. Why aren't you playing it? Initially it was that, and I just let go, and I think I practiced that day for 45 minutes. It was absolutely incredible moment. 45 minutes. It was magical, And when I finished, Philip, I think I messaged you
You
and say,
did.
"Hey, Philip, this is what's going on. What's going on?" So yeah, I think you will be able to explain,
Sure,
what
I'll
was
do that.
going on. It was just
Yeah.
magical. Yeah.
So, actually, somebody's just put a comment there, and it's a phrase that I will often use um, about that situation. Sports people call it in the zone, but the essentially what's happened there is it's like your peaceful walk. When the trust in awareness and silence is complete, then the mind, or what that we call the mind, which is essentially thoughts plus beliefs, will stop. And what that does is allows the universe, our pure essence, our true essence, the silence within, to express itself freely. It's now no longer coming through the filter of the mind, the scratched lens of the mind, the kind of fogginess of the mind. That's now stilled. And the pure expression that the universe is seeking to express through Blossom's form, through the piano, will naturally and effortlessly just simply arise. And that's why you felt one with the piano. It wasn't like it was Blossom's hands or the idea of Blossom. It was simply the universe expressing itself through the vehicle of Blossom. And the piano itself is part of that same expression. That's why you also felt one with the piano. And it's also important to pick up on something that you said there. When you tried to fight with the mind, saying, give me a break, give me a break. All you're doing there, as you clearly recognised, is you're just putting more energy into it. And
Yes.
I often express it. You'll have heard me said this many times, Blossom, but other people may not. The train of thought will take you to many stations. None of them are your truth. But the moment you can just simply allow it to be there, and kind of like an inner smile awareness of it from within, like, oh, the mind's off on one. But you're the awareness that sees it, notices it, and is unaffected by it. Then, because you're not putting any energy into it anymore, any more belief into it, you're not identifying with it, you're not attaching to it, you're not fighting it, you're not resisting it. It just falls away. And what's left is silence. And silence loves to express itself purely. And in Blossom's form, it happens to be through the piano. But in your form, it could be a piece of writing, it could be being a great mother or a father or some other pursuit in life that the universe wants to express itself through you. So listen to the heart and do not trust the mind when it comes to this. It has nothing useful to contribute. And in that space, then the silence will express itself. And that's why Blossom calls her lives music in silence, or music from the silence, because that's the space in which it is arising naturally and effortlessly from. And the same thing had happened with another musician friend, a lady called Tara, who plays the harp music on many of my Insight Timer tracks. I remember her messaging me the same way that Blossom did, saying, what's happening? And she'd just been to a retreat. And the same thing happened. There was an acceptance and a resting in awareness, and that the mind had nothing useful to contribute. And then all these beautiful harp tracks emerged, because the universe was feeling the call to express itself through her. Same with the piano with Blossom. And this again is another example of effortless effortless grace. Do you want to say anything more about that, Blossom?
Before I do that, there's a question. Maybe you can repeat that phrase later, Philip.
Which phrase was that one that you're talking about, Thierry? If you could just remind me. I said quite a few things there, so maybe it was about the train of thought. Ah, yes, okay. So the train of thought, we have this expression in English, don't we? The train of thought. I was following this train of thought. Now, the train of thought will take you to many stations, but none of them are your truth. Zero. None. This is completely unequivocal. The train of thought will take you to many stations, and none of them are your truth. Now, there's another way of saying this. I'll give you the brief story, but ultimately this came from a conversation with my wife on a beach here up in North Yorkshire in England, and we were exploring, because she'd experienced a lot of trauma too, like Blossom. And I was answering all the questions, we were exploring various things, and we left the conversation at the point when I said, look, eventually you're going to realise this for yourself. And then later on, just popped into awareness this phrase. You might want to jot this down, folks. I talk about this at length on the live streams. And it's this. Listen carefully. Thought cannot heal your pain. Presence will transform it. Thought cannot heal your pain. Presence will transform it. And what is this presence? It is awareness. It is infinite silence. It is effortless grace. Thought has nothing useful to contribute to your healing, your transformation. Presence is that which transforms. That's not to dismiss any of the other tools and techniques we might use. All of those are stepping stones to presence, to stillness, to silence. It is that you are, and it is that brings about the ultimate transformation. And it is that allows Blossom, one, to overcome the trauma and the fear and actually play live in front of hundreds of people, and even more importantly still, let that presence express itself purely through her form, so that we collectively have the gift of listening to that music. How beautiful is that? And we all have that within us, all of us, no exceptions. Is that okay for you, Blossom?
Oh yes, there are too many stations.
Absolutely.
I feel like we're still traveling around the world, and there's no no destination in sight. So this was what I was saying before. When I try to find the destination from A to B, the B the B is very long way away, and in fact, to stop seeking, to stop, to be in the present moment. You don't really need to find the stations. The present moment is the final station. It's already here. It's already here. You don't need to go to find it, because the more you try to find it, it's not going to get anywhere. And what I've learned about this journey is the thoughts does not know the awareness, the existence of awareness.
Correct.
So no matter how much you think, you can think your way into whatever it is you're searching for, you will not find awareness, because the the mind is, all it's doing is trying to tell you, do this, do this, do this, try this, try this, try this, and none of it is going to lead you to the truth, to where your heart is. It cannot take you there.
Exactly.
So I remember the moment when I realized that was a game changer for me.
Yes.
That was when I absolutely let go, stopped chasing after, what I thought was, there's a rainbow on the other end. I need to chase it, but the rainbow is already here. And that rainbow is absolutely, it's in there.
Yes.
When I realized that, it was a real game changer. Yeah.
There's a question here, actually, which is relevant to this. Shall I just pick up on that, Blossom?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. So it's from Zia, I think. And so it says, I wonder if sometimes even the station thoughts can feel lively and exciting, but are coming from the ego, small I mind. All thought, Zia, all thought is mind-based. There's a distinction I would make between thought and inspiration. And you know the difference. We all know the difference. Thought is heavy, dense, contracting, must, should, ought to, judging. Inspiration is like Blossom when she sits down with Stevenson, the masterclass, or heard Joseph Nemo, or found the live streams that I was doing about self-realization, and suddenly there's an inner knowing. Your heart feels uplifted, inspired. In that moment, it feels wonderful in your body. The difference between these energetically is stark. The uplifting, the inspiring, the joy, you can trust. That's inspiration. That's not thought. Thought is heavy, dense, contracting. And being able to discern and distinguish the difference between those two is key. And if you want to explore that further, listen to the live replay on my profile called Trust the Heart. And Kim says, is it a knowingness? And yes, it is a knowingness. It's just something that is known from within. Anything you want to add to that, Blossom?
Yeah, one thing that stands out to me from what I learned from your pointings is triggers are treasure.
Yes.
Every time I get a trigger, I remember that, whatever the mind wants me to do, that is the moment that is reminding me to bring myself back to the present moment. And sometimes I do forget, and not sometimes, a lot of times. But that phrase has, kind of stuck in my mind. Triggers are treasures. And even when I attend lives, I've heard, friends who have done your infinite silence meditations mentioning, Philip Wade says triggers are treasure. So whenever we notice that our attention have gone to the mind, to the egoic, the stories, just gently, without bashing myself up, to gently bring ourselves back to the present moment. I still remember when I was bashing myself up. I think that's what many people were describing about the second thought. The first thought was when a thought came to your mind and it really bothers you. And then on top of that, as if the suffering wasn't enough, on top of that, I would beat myself up for having that thought. And that's the second thought. So when I notice the thoughts, aha, I caught you. You're not getting away from me. I caught you. Thoughts, I caught you. So when I am aware the thoughts are there, I accept them to be there, allow them to be there. I gently bring myself back to the present moment. That triggers are absolutely treasures. So that's a phrase I'll never forget, Philip.
Yes, indeed. I remember doing that live and using that phrase for the first time on Insight Timer, at least. Triggers are treasures. And just to expand upon that a little bit more for everybody, because when we get triggered, there are many events that may happen in life that lead to, particularly to an emotional trigger, but a thought can also be seen as a trigger, as Blossom was just sharing. The most common response from the mind is to run away. Is basically fight, flight, or freeze. Those are the responses: fight, flight, or freeze. None of those are useful to you. What they actually is, when that emotional trigger arises, it's like a tap on the shoulder from the universe to say, pay attention, because you're still carrying this energy around inside you. And if you simply trust the awareness, remember awareness is unaffected, untouched, and unmoved by the emotion, then there's only one thing that's going to happen. There's a total acceptance of it being there. And because you're not giving it any more input, you're not believing in the thoughts, what the mind has to say about it, the wave of emotion, it reaches a peak of intensity and it will just fade away. It'll just dissolve into silence. And this process I call transmuting fear into love. And it too, my friends, is effortless. Effortless grace. And that's why triggers the treasures, because on the other side of that peak, as the wave dissolves, goes back into the ocean of silence, what you'll notice is a deeper peace, a stillness and silence. And the more that you allow that to transpire effortlessly and silently, the less you will be triggered, the deeper you will rest in awareness, the more consistently you will rest in awareness, the more peaceful, the more graceful, the more inspirational life will be. And that's really essentially what happened to Blossom. 37 years not playing the piano. She listened deeply to the calling. She followed the calling. And yes, it was a bit challenging at first, but she kept going, kept trusting. Listen to the infinite silence meditations. Listen to all the pointings in all the live streams. And then the transformation became increasingly effortless. And that's why trust is key on this journey. Trust the calling of your heart. It will lead you home.
Absolutely. Trust.
Yeah, and trust some more, and then keep on trusting.
Yes.
And then
Yes.
keep on trusting some more, and then trust a little bit more still, and then keep
Yes.
on trusting.
Yes.
Because what is it that you are trusting? It's trusting your truth. The heart space of silence. The heart space of silence. So if you're looking for transformation in your life. Peace. And it is peace that ultimately everybody seeks. It's silence that is the answer. Not because Philip says so, but because that is your very essence. It's as simple as that. There's nothing complicated about it. Nothing at all. And so one of the reasons why Blossom and I were particularly keen to do this live together, apart from sharing her journey, is for it to act as an inspiration for you. Because Blossom, I'm sure, would say, I'll let her say it herself, but I'm sure she'd say, you know, if it can happen to me, it can definitely happen for you.
Yes.
Would you not say that, Blossom?
I'm not special. I'm not chosen to do this. If I can do this, anyone can do this, because the truth is it's already inside us. You know, we just have to remember, because we forget to connect to the truth. We forget to reconnect to the heart, because of all those conditioning that we all go through. You know, we tend to get drawn into the thoughts and stories. So the listening to your live replays and your infinite silence meditations make me realize that I do not need to actually go and find the peace, find the, you know, I don't need to ask myself how to detach, how to. Because by going back to the truth within, those how to questions naturally dissolves, because it's a knowing.
Yeah.
Because you don't need to chase those, because they are already here.
Absolutely.
So that was the so awareness is so important. That was what I get out of, you know, this whole journey. Just keep reconnecting, keep going back to awareness.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And and to stop the seeking, because the seeking can go on forever. You know, the seeking, the list of things that we seek will never finish.
Absolutely.
It's a very long list, but if you go to the truth within you, instantly you do not need to seek those things. They are there. You know, it's so peaceful, and it's so a transformation journey here.
Yeah. So just to pick up on that a little bit more, you know, just to capture what Blossom's pointing out there, there's a phrase I'll have used many times on those live streams, because many people go through life chasing after more. The mind is always insatiable in its desire, and it's never completely satisfied. You may have moments of temporary happiness about some particular thing, but then it kicks back in again. When it comes to realizing peace, experiencing peace, this phrase is very important, folks. It's about realizing, not seeking. Realizing, not seeking. And what that means is that the peace that you seek is already here, awaiting to be realized. Realizing, not seeking. And another way of saying this is call off the search. call off the search. And then another pointer, which might sound really strange to you, be open to knowing nothing. Your mind will think that it knows about life, and I can tell you for free, it knows nothing about life. Be open to knowing nothing, and then the wisdom of the universe will flow effortlessly through you. And the way it does it with Blossom, one of the ways it does it with Blossom, is through the music. Yes, also staying curious, Nicole. Staying open. Staying open. I'll just do a shout out to Dina there, a connection of mine. Hi Dina, glad to see you could, you could be here. So is there anything else you wanted to share, Blossom? One question I had at the end was, what would be your message to others who have had experienced challenges? What would be your message to them?
To follow the heart.
Yeah.
And not go seeking. And if I were to compare to the duality meditation I was doing, I remember how I was realizing at the time when I started awareness-based meditation or your infinite silence meditation, how the simplicity of it, the fact that I don't have to visualize anything, that was one of my earliest, what's the word? I don't know the word. That was something that I realized, wow, that's why I was so drawn to your infinite silence meditation, because it to me it was effortless. I didn't have to do anything. I just need to be.
Perfect.
Yeah, that was what was drawn to me. So I just want to say that, to keep meditating, and it's natural for the mind to want to know how to do things. To just stop beating ourselves up. That's the one thing I realized I was doing, and maybe still are doing during my daily life. And that I remember, Philip, you said that this is living meditation.
Yes.
Because it's not just, it doesn't just apply to when I play the piano. So triggers are treasure. When I go about doing anything daily, when I notice the trigger, I bring myself back to the present moment, the awareness. That is so important. So I try to be aware that the thoughts are, kind of like, felt like sometimes the thoughts are taking over my life. I gently bring myself back without beating myself up. I mean, I still do beat myself up a lot of times, because there's, the body is so dense, there's so much stuck energy there. But moments where I say to myself, hey, Blossom, be kind to yourself. Self-love. I do forget a lot of times, but it's about telling yourself that, no one has to be perfect. When an inspiration comes to you, Just be in that present moment. Don't go chasing after it like, oh, what is it? Is it over there? Is it, you know, the absolute search has to stop searching. That's where
Absolutely.
everything that will come to us. And yeah, I mean, there's still a lot of trauma that I'm still going through.
Sure.
But I have told, I have mentioned many times during my lives that one thing I was searching for when I was so depressed, I wanted to punch the wall, when I said, please give me a break, just
Mm.
even 1 second, just be quiet, mind, just be quiet, you know. And I realized after that, I connect to the heart and be aware that I'm aware. That was the key. It was like, whoa, it's quiet. It was like, whoo, it's absolutely quiet. It's that was that was mind blowing when
Sure.
I realized that. It was like, ah, I can absolutely stop searching because it's already here. It's
It
so
is.
peaceful. It's so
Yeah.
peaceful.
And I'll just say something about that. It was a massive journey for Blossom to come from 37 years of not playing to then be in front of a live audience on Insight Timer, and that involved a dissolution of a large chunk of trauma. But the journey will go on. But what's the difference now is that the awareness has been recognized, it's been experientially realized and seen. And when you come at it, the remaining energy in the emotional body from that space, you can quickly come back to awareness. And when you're resting in awareness, awareness and silence, nothing will trouble you. And so it will dissolve and dissolve and dissolve over time. And there's no benefit in beating yourself up. Just let the journey unfold, follow the calling, follow the heart, and life will naturally bring to you those situations, those moments, those trigger moments to allow more of that emotional body to dissolve. And the more that you allow that to happen, the deeper one will continually rest in and as that. And it's not that thoughts will never come. Thoughts will come whilst you're still in this body. But when you see the thought, aware of the emotion, and know that you are that and not the thought and not the emotion, now we're no longer suffering. We're no longer suffering. We're now resting in awareness, presence, stillness, silence. And that, my friends, will transform your life. That will transform your life. It's not about some human idea of perfection, because perfection has the opposite of imperfection. And who is the definer of what perfection is anyway? It's a mind-created concept. That which you truly are is beyond all definition, beyond all words. And it's here now. And if it can happen for Blossom, it happened for a former chartered civil engineer, about as grounded as a profession as you can get. It can happen for you. It can happen for you. So
Absolutely.
I'm thinking that unless there's any really burning questions from anybody, we should finish off with some piano from Blossom. So I can't see anything. So let's do that then, shall we, Blossom? We'll come to a close with
Thank
some
you. And
beautiful
before I
music.
play, I just want to thank Violet, my tweenie Violet 108 again. And I cannot thank Violet enough.
I would echo that, Violet. Thank you for making this happen. Blossom and I have been talking about this for about 3 years, so
Yes,
it,
this would absolutely not be possible. So everyone, please put some hearts in the chat for Violet. And also, I will mention donation. Violet is in the chat. Maybe you can write what organization you are donating the money to. I believe it's a shelter, an animal shelter. So please give round of applause to the amazing Violet 108. And if you are financially able to, please donate to her charity of choice, to Animal Rescue, because Violet has, given so much of her time. She's not getting paid. We teachers are not getting paid for doing lives, and she is so selfless and always thinking about others, and always here to support us. And I just cannot thank Violet enough. And also, while I'm being so grateful, and Philip, I wouldn't be here without your guidance and pointing. This has been such an amazing journey for me. Absolutely transformation. When I got the calling to come to this side of the screen to play piano, I knew, my heart told me at the time, follow that, trust it. And my ego in mind was saying, but how are you going to do this? You don't know technology, you don't know this, you don't have equipment. It was giving me a long list of things I couldn't do. And I remember there were twice I actually stopped doing lives for a few months because I was got so overwhelmed by technology. The other belief I had to let go was, Blossom, you are too old to learn technology. When I let that belief go, it was amazing. And my dear friend, musician teacher friend, Gunter Gerg, whose teacher's profile name is now Mindful Music. He still is so kind and so patient. I remember, sometimes I message him with 25 questions and say, how do you do this? Or what should I do? And where do I plug in the cable and all that? Oh, talking about that, I must thank my son, Thomas. Because without his help, I probably would not be here. Because he's my personal assistant. Whenever I need technology help, he would be here at an instant to help me. So I'm so grateful to Thomas. And I always joke with my friends on Insight Timer when I go live, is that Thomas knew that I wanted to do this one day before he even came to me, and he chose this mom because he knew that this mom needed help with technology. I'll choose her because she needs my help with technology. I like to joke about this because it's absolutely so true that I'm so blessed, to have my son who helps me with technology, and to Philip. Words cannot. There are just not enough words to thank you, Philip, and Gunter Gerg, Mindful Music, and also Joseph Nemo. I just cannot. I just couldn't see this, back in the days. I just could not see that I would be doing this back then I had said to myself I would never play piano again, never, 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 never. And that never was not true. It was indeed not true. The never, never came from the mind. The mind was telling me, you can never do this. But I proved the mind wrong by trusting something greater, something, I'm just so grateful. So, of course, there are along the way, there are many teachers and many members of the community who also helped me along the way. So there are too many names to mention. So thank you so much for each and every one of you as well. And this next piece of music, I like to dedicate this to Philip, to Gunther and Joseph, because without them I would not be here. So thank you again so much, everybody, for joining us today. And of course, and Violet too. I'd like to dedicate this to Violet 108, my twinnie as well. And it's such a blessing to be here. I can't think of anything better to do now that, I've been retired for so many years. And this is the best thing I'm doing in my life, in my retired years, and that is I am so blessed that my goal to come to Insight Timer to play music, come to this side of the screen to play music, is to share the love or send the love and peace to everybody. That is my goal, and it has absolute magical journey, and I couldn't have done it without each and every one of you, without your amazing support, the encouragement you've given me, the support, the love, I've run out of words. Fill in the blanks. It's absolutely amazing. It's absolutely amazing. So thank you everybody. Thank you so much. All right, so please have your headphones back on, everybody. I'm not sure how long I'll be playing this piece of music for, and please sit back and enjoy. If you're called to close your eyes to meditate and being in the present moment, and enjoy it. That's all I can say. Okay, I'm going to mute my mic. Thank you, everyone.
Incredible.
Thank you.
So I think we're probably pretty much there, folks. Is there anything else you wanted to say, Blossom? I know you said thank to the universe, so
I think I've said everything.
yes,
Yeah.
perfect. Yeah, excellent. Yeah. So just for me to say thank you to Blossom for sharing this space together, Violet 108, as she's called here on Insight Timer, for making this possible, because Blossom and I have been talking about this for it must be about 3 years.
Yes.
And I've not been live on Insight Timer for some time, got a lot on. But it was great. It's been great to come back and share this space and just the odyssey of music and silence that we've shared together tonight. So thank you all for being here, sharing in this space with us. And, if you want to take one thing from this, that, this calling is here for all of us. So the transformational journey that Blossom has been through, it's possible for you. It really is possible for you.
Indeed. Yes.
Yeah. And
And
it's
and
here.
follow Philip, everyone. Check out his Philip's profile, Philip Wade, and
Yeah.
join his group. I would strongly encourage everyone to share your experiences. If you do decide to follow Philip and go on the infinite silence journey, to write in the chat of your meditation experiences, any questions you have, because Philip, for many years have answered all the questions, and he cleared a lot of things up that I wasn't sure, and that has been, so helpful. The other day, my egoic mind tells me, "Oh, you have to go back and go through all the chat messages back to 2001 and see what and see what you said in the chat." So I did that. Wow, that was a lot of scrolling back. I screenshot everything, but I did not. Did I even look at them? Not really, because because it wasn't necessary to go back there, because all the knowing and everything I experienced, it's already here. I did need to go back to revisit those notes so that I can remember what I said. But what I wanted to say, if I've already said what I wanted to say without even looking at those notes. So so I'm just so grateful. Follow Philip Wade, everybody, and check him out.
The group,
That's
if you
all.
want to join the group, is called The Living Soul, with Philip Wade. The Living Soul. For those of you who want to experience those live replays, they're on Insight Timer as audios, so you can find those multiple ways on my profile. Either in the group, you will see in the not the chat bit, but the feed, there are links to various playlists there. So all of the live streams that Blossom experienced, or pretty much all of them, are there for you to replay. And all the meditations, there are 7 infinite silence meditations, and they're all there too. So if you want to use those, they're there for you to use, free to use. And thank you so much again. I think I think we're done, aren't we, Blossom?
I just want to add, keep listening to them.
Yeah.
Even though you've listened to that track, once or twice, and keep going back to them, because when I go back to listen to the recording, it was like, oh, I didn't notice this before. It was like an aha moment for me, and I love those aha moments.
Yeah.
It's just amazing, those aha moments. I was like, because something that you may not see, may not realize, now it will pop up, down the road, down the line somewhere when you're listening, revisit those recordings. So
Absolutely. What I would say to that is that people don't just listen once. Listen, have a gap, and listen again, because you will hear more. You will hear more. I know
yes, the
people
gap.
have listened to them 4, 5, 6 times, and it's been transformative for them. So
Indeed.
yeah, it's there for you. It's a resource. It's a legacy gift, if you like, that I felt called to create in 2022, which is when Blossom found me, and it really can be for you. It really can. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Philip. Thank you, Violet 108, and thank you everybody for joining us. And this is such a special life event for me to finally able to share, my experiences, and it's more important, for Philip to chip in, I guess, to explain your insights, because I just cannot explain those. So yeah, this journey has just been so magical, and to have so many Insight Timer community here with me week after week to support me has been such an incredible journey. Yeah, there's no
Absolutely.
words to describe
Indeed.
what being in the moment is like, to actually, when I do every lives, to just absolutely let myself go, be playful, and not to worry about if things go wrong. I mean, there are many moments where technology didn't work, or I start playing and then the egoic mind came in and I had to stop. I had to restart the recording and play it again. And I just laugh when there are moments like this. Like, life is, it's not meant to be perfect. You live every moment, whatever that comes. And, if I feel like, this limited mind is at it again, I just laugh, like, to make things fun. That's my whole purpose of doing this life, is to have fun, because when I am having fun, the music will flow through me, and I just don't have any worry. I just being in the present moment, basically. So yeah, so thank you everybody for joining us today, and hope you come to my live next week. I think the next one is on Wednesday. I've seen Violet putting up the promotional card. So yeah, so thank you everybody for joining us. Guests who normally don't use Insight Timer, thank you for coming, and I hope to see you very soon in the very near future. Thank you everybody.
Thank you,
Love to
everyone.
all.
Yeah. Bye bye.
Thank you.
Bye bye, everybody.
Bye.
Thank you for being here.
Bye.